Hello and welcome to Mr. G's Weathercast. My name is Dooley Godot, also known as Mr. G, and I am a student meteorologist. And in this video, we are going to talk about the weather, which is my favorite thing to talk about. So we are going to jump right into it, and we are going to jump into our first source here, which is a map that is provided by WSV3 software, which I think is a phenomenal piece of software, and I enjoy playing with it. It really shows a lot of cool stuff. It has a lot of cool features that I'm still learning how to use and access. But let's talk about the weather. So let's jump right on in here, and we are gonna say that we are finally mostly done with dealing with that pesky frontal boundary that's been over the East Coast for the last week or so to say. Since last weekend, we've been dealing with that storm system that's been over the East Coast. The low pressure center has moved out to sea, but it did have a trailing frontal boundary that extended all the way across the Gulf to Mexico and into the Pacific side. It is now over South Florida, where we are seeing showers and thunderstorms, Dade County and Broward County, as well as the West Palm Beaches and the east coast of Florida on the Atlantic side. And then around Naples and Fort Myers and Tampa, we're seeing some showers and thunderstorms. There are maybe a thunderstorm across Orlando and Central Florida and Gainesville and things. We can see some thunderstorms move across that area, as there is a piece of that front that is draped across Florida, and they're going to see that. So I live in the Pacific North, not in the Pacific North. I kind of wish I maybe lived in no. The Pacific Northwest is kind of crazy. I'm going to take that back. I live in the upper Midwest. I live in the state of Minnesota. And in the state of Minnesota, we are dealing with a Alberta Clipper that came through last night, dropped about an inch of snow across the Twin Cities in upper northern Minnesota and Wisconsin. It dropped a little bit of snow. Right now, we do have those wind chill advisories in effect across the northern half of Minnesota, as well as eastern North Dakota is dealing with those wind chill advisories that will make wind chills as low as negative 25 tonight across these days. And I don't know, there's been a problem with the application where it's kind of blinked out every now and then. I don't really know why it's doing that, but it is. But anyway, there is a winter weather advisory across parts of Iowa. We have Illinois, southwestern Wisconsin, northern Indiana, and across the central swath of Ohio. And it's also affecting West Virginia and southwestern Pennsylvania. This winter weather advisory is connected with the current Alberta Clipper that is. Let's put our map into motion here so you can see the movement of this current Alberta Clipper that is moving across the upper plain states. It's affecting the areas of southwest Minnesota, northern Iowa, eastern North Dakota, eastern South Dakota, and it's going to move into Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, and Pennsylvania and West Virginia later on this evening, as it quickly moves to the southeast. So this Alberta Clipper, they did issue a winter weather advisory for this Alberta Clipper because these areas in the advisory zone do expect to get anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of that powdery snow. So that's pretty much what's going on in a nutshell across most of the nation. I do want to take a quick look. We're going to take a quick zoom in of the Southwest here and see across Southern California. And in Southern California, we are seeing those Santa Ana winds blowing. That's those northeast winds are blowing below the canyons and passes because of high pressure centered over the Four Corners, or not the Four Corners, but over Utah and Colorado. The area of high pressure, that continental high is there over the mountains, and it's producing those strong gusty winds in the canyons and passes of the Southern California mountains and deserts. If you live in like Ontario, I used to live in Southern California. I'm from LA, and I remember living in the Inland Empire. I used to live in Chino and Ontario and stuff, Montclair, and several times throughout the year, you would get those gusty winds, and sometimes these winds can be hurricane force, and really, I used to have a basketball court in the backyard, and I remember windstorm blowing a basketball court over and bending the rim, because when it fell over, it hit the ground, and the rim bent. Like, oh, dang it. So that was the thing. Let me move my tripod over here that I'm not using right now for this video. But let me get more centered here. So those winds blow through. I remember that day it was blowing at 100 miles per hour. Literally 100 mile an hour winds blowing across the Inland Empire. But you'll see that, and you see here they got the wind advisory in effect. It's because of those Santa Anas, right? And which is a common feature if you're living in the Southwest. And then we're going to zoom into Arizona and New Mexico. Oh, let's do it right. There we go. Arizona and New Mexico, as we can see some showers moving in to good old Tucson, because I used to live in Tucson too for a few years. I loved it, Tucson, especially with the summer monsoons. So we got a few showers moving north across the Mogollon Rim area of Arizona. Tucson's going to see some of those showers, plus areas here, Flagstaff. Flagstaff often gets snow, so I'd be curious to see if any snow falls in the Flagstaff area from this system. This is I-40 here. We see Gallup, New Mexico, and Albuquerque in this view, and those showers will soon move into those areas. So that is a look at what's going on in the Southwest. I love this map. I love playing with it. Let's take a quick look at Florida. Let's zoom into Florida. We see those showers and thunderstorms. So you see these reds and yellows indicates convection, which are usually thunderstorms. And we can see those thunderstorms along that cold front that's centered right about Orlando. So we see those showers moving across Tampa right now, Orlando, Cape Coral, the West Palm Beaches, as well as Miami-Dade County is seeing those showers and thunderstorms. All right? And then in the upper Midwest, we have this system that is, let's bring it back. I kind of missed the click there, so let's go back to the upper Midwest. There is our Alberta Clipper moving from the northwest to the southeast. This is going to slide right along I-94 in every area south of I-94. It's going to see those snow showers from the Alberta Clipper as that slides on to the southeast and into Iowa and parts east across the upper Midwest on out to the East Coast. All right, so that's the look at the big stuff going on right now. Let's go ahead and jump into our other maps and our forecast models right now, and we are going to take a look at the GFS as the first item up for bid. And as we can see right now, the GFS is showing that this was a view from yesterday. So let's move on ahead to our next Alberta Clipper. This is the current Alberta Clipper that's affecting parts of western and southwestern Minnesota right now. See, the GFS is showing that this one is going to affect most of Minnesota, including the Twin Cities. The Twin Cities is not seeing any moisture from this weather system, so the GFS is a little bit bullish there, but it is painting that 2 to 4 inches there, and that Alberta Clipper is going to move across pretty much where the National Weather Service has that winter weather advisory through these areas. See, you can see it as it moves across Wisconsin, Iowa, there it is in Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio, affecting West Virginia and Pennsylvania, and it's going to kind of fade out as it moves off the East Coast. So that's the big system there. And then we have that moisture that was across Arizona and New Mexico did slide into northern Mexico and South Texas. So areas south of San Antonio and maybe Austin, Texas could see a few showers from that down into Del Rio, Texas, and Brownsville, South Texas. You're going to see some showers from that weak weather system across the southwest. So let's move on ahead with the GFS. Another Alberta Clipper system tries to get started for your Monday across Wisconsin. Michigan can see some showers from that Alberta Clipper. These Alberta Clippers are quite persistent. And we're going to have a series of about 4 of these Alberta Clippers over the next few days across the upper Midwest. They are about 12 to 18 hours apart in between them. And all they're really doing is a little bit of light snow, some wind, drop the wind chill a little bit, and reinforce that cold air. So it's definitely going to stay cold here in the upper Midwest and the northern states and the Great Lakes. And we see the Alberta Clipper. Then we see this system kind of take hold over that same little system. This is part of that system that was across the southwest. It moves into Texas, but it really pulls up Gulf moisture in Louisiana, southern Arkansas, and Mississippi. Starkville, where my online campus is in Mississippi, because I'm a student at Mississippi State University, where I'm taking their operational meteorology and broadcasting. But I don't know if I want to go to a TV station. I don't know. I might want to do this. If I can make this work and make a little cash at it doing it, then I would be happy doing this. And do a lot of research projects, do some storm chasing and climate change research and stuff like that. So I want to get into more of the research and be out in the field. You know, hey, I want to get out there and have fun and learn some stuff and teach others some stuff. Help to keep folks out there safe and secure and protected. You know. So anyway, this system. So we got this guy here in the south, in the deep south, and this guy here in the upper Midwest. Let's see if they phase together down the line, because the jet stream has been wanting to say that. And there it is. Well, it doesn't really connect. They kind of remain separated, don't really phase. I would like to see that phasing, because it would intensify and we can see a little bit more snow. But we don't really want to see the severe weather. We don't really want to see the tornadoes and stuff. It's kind of have calmed down that threat for now. So we're seeing some general thunderstorms across Florida and along the East Coast there, South Carolina, North Carolina. And it want to hint at freezing rain in parts of Tennessee and Kentucky and West Virginia. Is hinting at that freezing rain on the GFS. And this is for your Tuesday, the 25th. And that's going to move on out to sea. As you can see, it's pretty quiet across the northwest, and the southwest is pretty quiet. Most of the nation is going to be quiet for Wednesday. For the 26th, I don't see anything going on right now. Nationwide, high pressure is going to control. It's going to get a little bit mild in the upper Midwest, a little bit of a south and westerly flow. So those temperatures across Minnesota and the Dakotas can warm into the 20s. We might even see a stray 30 across Minnesota or Wisconsin on about the 26th or 27th. So a little bit of a reprieve from the bitter cold about midweek, but it's gonna come back. Make sure we know that it will come back. So enjoy that while it lasts. Get you a couple days. Get the car washed or something like that. Go get you some bread and milk. Get ready for the next shot of cold air from the next Alberta Clipper that looks like it's going to be coming down out of Canada on your 27th. On Thursday, there's the Alberta Clipper coming in to Minnesota. You can see it there. It's going to drop another inch of quick-hitting powdery snow. That'll be gone in a few hours. And then another system gets going across the south in the Gulf of Mexico. It's going to bring some moderate to heavy rain across South Texas and Louisiana. And that's going to stay down along the immediate Gulf Coast Florida is going to get hit with a lot of thunderstorms. We might see some severe weather across the Sunshine State as a pretty potent little area of low pressure with an associated cold front passes across Florida on your Friday and in your Saturday. So Friday and Saturday we could see a few rounds of really powerful thunderstorms, maybe severe weather risk, maybe an isolated tornado or two. We get some snow across northern Georgia and Alabama. Also, it's going to bring snow. And there's that pesky freezing rain again. Freezing rain have been a big component of these southern stream storms this year, especially in the Carolinas. The Carolinas have really been dealing hard. North and South Carolina has really been taking the brunt of these ice storms. It's really been kind of a problem. It really makes it's really bad on the roads. The frozen roadways start buckling and everything like that. So you want to be careful with that. That's going to create a mess for the departments of transportation for these states when they have to repair the roads in the spring and summer. So we got, like we say in Minnesota, we have two seasons. We have construction and we have winter. Construction seasons in spring and summer, and the fall because the winters tear the roadways up because it's so cold. But and this system is going to move on up the eastern seaboard and become quite a powerful system. You see it takes on at 977 millibars, so it gets a really strong weather system. And you can see that heavy rain moving into parts of North Carolina and Virginia is getting that heavy rain, and again that freezing rain right along the coastline there. There is kind of along the coast and over the big cities, Washington D.C. and the bigger towns in Virginia. What big cities really exist in Virginia? Arlington, maybe? Arlington and Fairfax, the areas around D.C., some of the larger suburbs, McLean and things like that. I almost got a job in Washington D.C. a few years ago, but that system moves up to the East Coast, kind of moves out to sea a little bit, so a lot of the wind effects are out to sea, but we can see that it's going to bring some more snow to Boston and Connecticut, New York, New Jersey. Could see heavy snow, really heavy snow we can see in Maine and Vermont and New Hampshire. Can see that heavy snow. And this is going to be for the 31st of January. That the GFS is trying to say that we could see that heavy snow. So we're going to keep an eye on that and keep monitoring the models every day because they always fluctuate and change. What we see now, it may or may not happen. But this one, I do have to admit that this system has been showing for the last couple days. The last 4 or 5 model runs, this storm has been there. So perhaps this one is going to come together. Whether or not it's going to be that strong remains to be seen. I don't think so. Maybe we'll have to see what the jet stream does, what this trough does. If this trough deepens and it takes a negative tilt, and if it starts to negatively tilt and deepen, that trough really deepens, then that storm probably will be that strong. But we have to see what the jet stream does with this, what the jet stream energy in this around this trough as it goes around the trough, what it does. Well, we're going to look at the oscillations, the NAO and the AO stuff later on. So we're going to take a look at those. That'll kind of give us a better idea of what to expect, of what that possibility is, because they do project out to that end, to the end of the month. So let's roll that system right on out of here. And then we have another guy, another Clipper system coming in off of the mountains. And we got us a Colorado system going on here. And it's going to bring snow to the high plains of the Dakotas and parts of Nebraska and Iowa. We'll see some snow from that. We're going to have a few showers across central Texas and west Texas. Amarillo, and Odessa, and Lubbock, Texas could see some showers from that piece of weather on the 1st. And that is going to kind of gather steam as it moves on into the 2nd of February. GFS is showing that this system kind of gathers some steam, spreads some snow across southern Minnesota, most of Wisconsin, all of Iowa. Illinois is going to get some heavy snow out of this. Looks like Illinois and Indiana, southern Indiana, is going to see heavy snow, and it's going to bring a little bit of frozen precipitation, freezing rain, maybe some ice pellets across the areas of Missouri and Arkansas. Along with that rain, that system moves on east, and now we are looking at the 3rd of February. It moves east, and look at it has a trailing cold front. Looks like it's gonna develop one of those pesky cold fronts that don't want to clear the southeast. See, it's gonna hang out across the southeast, a pesky cold front in that trough, and then it's gonna move offshore. Another area of low pressure is gonna develop right over the Carolinas and North Georgia on the 5th or 6th of February, and that's gonna move on out. That's gonna move offshore. So. And then another little piece of energy moves up. Then we look at the southwest. Southwest, a big storm system might develop across Southern California. Might bring some rain to LA, San Diego, the Inland Empire with some mountain snow. Mountain snow over Big Bear and Lake Arrowhead in Southern California. Boy, those are beautiful areas. I love it down there. It's wonderful. I wish I can go and visit and take a trip. Maybe when I buy the coach bus that I want, my Prevost, I can camp and go camp out in the mountains in Southern California one day. And we get snow, of course, heavy snow across the Sierra Nevadas. Lake Tahoe is going to see that. Truckee, California, Medicine Lake, in areas along the Sierra Nevadas. Heavy rain in the valleys. San Joaquin, Bakersfield, Fresno, Stockton, Merced, Sacramento are all going to see areas of heavy rain. Going to be good for the farmland, especially that snow in the Sierra Nevadas, because when that snow melts in the spring, it's going to fill the reservoirs so that they can have farm water for the farms and irrigation, water for the folks in LA, water for the folks in Phoenix and Tucson and Las Vegas. So we want to see the snow. If there's any place in the nation we want to see the snow, it's in California, in the Sierra Nevadas. So that's the end for the GFS. So let's take a look at what our European model is saying. And the Euro is, let's take a look at what the Euro has in store for us. Okay, there it is. I couldn't see the change. I was like, is it switching? I thought I was tripping. Okay, guess not. So, this is our European model. This one goes out 5 days. This is where we are This was where we were last night. So, let's move ahead. This is history here. This is history. Here's our current Alberta Clipper across Minnesota. Here's as it moves across those before mentioned states of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Virginia, West Virginia, Virginia, it's going to affect Virginia, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania, and it's going to move offshore a little bit. It also shows a little activity down in Texas, so it shows that forming up and going to bring some rain to Austin, and San Antonio could get some rain. Maybe just south of Dallas as well. Dallas is right about here. This is Austin, San Antonio, and Houston's over here. So eventually that rain is going to move into Houston. Here is another Alberta Clipper for the upper Midwest. This is what? The third one in 3 days? 2 days? Really? 3 in 2 days? So these Alberta Clippers can be that way. They're not going to drop a lot of snow. They're going to push a reinforcing shot of the cold air and a period of winds. And wind chill. It's going to increase the wind chill. The National Weather Service probably will most likely issue wind chill advisories, maybe some wind chill warnings for the Dakotas. So we'll keep an eye out and expect that to happen. But we're going to move on along here. Alberta Clipper moves across Canada and offshore. It kind of meets that moisture that was in the southern part of Texas. Now eventually on the 26th makes its way out here to the mid-Atlantic area, where it phases together with that Alberta Clipper, but it happens offshore, so it's not going to affect us in the U.S. too bad, with some light snow across Maine and the New Hampshire and Vermont, maybe inland parts of New York and Pennsylvania might see a little snow. And from that one, and then here is that quiet period, and we get another Alberta Clipper, mostly in Canada, but we can see it has a trailing frontal boundary, and it's going to bring some snow to Minnesota and Wisconsin and the upper peninsula of Michigan. And this is going to be for your 27th. We have some tropical moisture down here in the Gulf of Mexico, off the coast of Texas, Dallas, Brownsville, and Beaumont. Can see some precipitation from that. It's going to be in the form of liquid. We won't get into any frozen precipitation until we get up into Arkansas. But south of that line, south of Fort Smith, Arkansas, and Little Rock. North of Little Rock, see snow. South of Little Rock, rain. As that moves on off, and that's going to move into Florida. GFS and the European model shows big potential weather for Florida next weekend on your 28th, 29th, Friday and Saturday. A lot of rain and thunderstorms. So this is probably going to happen. We can probably bet the farm on this when two of our most prominent models are agreeing on it. So we're going to look and see. We may have that big storm across the deep south, and it's going to bring snow North Georgia, North Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina. And again, there is that risk of, now the European model is a little bit, nope, I take that back. It's just as bullish on that pesky freezing rain. There is that freezing rain again across South Carolina, this time North Georgia. Bam, Atlanta is right in the bullseye of that freezing rain. You don't want that freezing rain, because this is looks to be about maybe a quarter to a half inch of freezing rain, maybe up to an inch of freezing rain in some areas. That's a lot. That's a mess. That's going to cause power outages. That's going to cause trees to snap, maybe some tree limbs, big branches and stuff like that. So that's going to cause some problems in the deep south, and it's going to move on up the eastern seaboard and evolve into this really powerful weather system. As we can see, 970 millibars is a really strong, powerful weather system that's equal to a really strong tropical storm or Category 1 hurricane. So that's going to be really strong. With those tight isobars, you can see there's a lot of wind. So we can get 70, 80 mile an hour winds in this. So those winds are going to affect especially the areas north of the weather system. If you are in Maine and Massachusetts, and we're also looking at Connecticut, New Jersey, New York City, New York State. If you are in Poughkeepsie, am I saying that right? Let me know in the comments if I'm saying that right. So you have some heavy rain, Chelsea, things like that. So that big storm is going to move on out of here and go into the North Atlantic by the first of February. So the next weekend, again, we're looking at a major winter storm across the South, Florida, the Southeast. We have Atlanta, North Carolina, South Carolina. Heavy freezing rain, snow north of the areas of freezing rain, heavy rain, thunderstorm. We can actually have thunder, freezing rain, thunderstorms with freezing rain, and the possibility of thunder snow across northern Georgia and the Carolinas. Could see thunder snow and heavy thunderstorms from Georgia, Atlanta south into Florida, all the way down to Florida coast, Jacksonville, Tampa, Orlando, the Palm Beaches, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Fort Myers, Naples, all points on the Gulf side of Florida, all points on the Atlantic side. The Keys can see those thunderstorms. So watch for heavy rain, dangerous lightning. You know, those Florida thunders, I used to live in. See, I lived everywhere. I would tell a story about when I lived in Miami, and the Miami storms are nothing to play with. There's no joke. It's going to rain hard in Miami. Thunderstorms don't play around there. Two of the best places for thunderstorms are the Great Plains and South Florida. Telling them, no joke. So I would take precaution, pay attention to these weather forecasts. I'm not gonna hype this up. I'm gonna keep it a buck, keep it 100 with you. That gonna be dangerous because you're gonna watch the tornado risk there, hail, a lot of lightning. Florida is the lightning capital of America. Trust me. A lot of people get struck by lightning a year in Florida. I think 14 people a year are injured by lightning strikes in Florida. Florida has the highest percentile of people who get injured by lightning because Florida has very dangerous lightning. So that is what the European model says for us. We are going to move on ahead. We are going to jump into our next model. Let's jump into our next model. And this is our temperature model right now. And this is what we are currently looking at across the state. Right now it's in the mid-teens in the Twin Cities. Both Minneapolis and Duluth are in the mid-teens, 14 degrees. It's also 14 degrees in Des Moines. So I guess the upper Midwest is like the 15 degrees. If we look at it, the Fargo and Moorhead is actually warmer than the Twin Cities right now. So points further north is actually warmer than the Minneapolis. It's 9 degrees right now in Rochester. So we can see those cold temperatures across the upper Midwest. We see those 20s in Illinois. And there's also single digits in northwestern Illinois along the Iowa border and the Wisconsin border. But if you go down towards Springfield and the southern parts of Illinois, you can see in those 20s and teens and upper 20s also exist in Missouri, and we see those teens, maybe low 20s across the state of Indiana, Ohio. Those teens as well exist in the southern part of Michigan, but the upper part of Michigan, the upper peninsula, we see those single digits. And we see these warmer, these slightly milder temperatures across this section here because of that Alberta Clipper that's passing through. You know, ahead of a storm system, temperatures tend to warm with that warm air advection. So this is the most that warm air advection could muster. It mustered teens for highs as opposed to single digits and being below zero. So that's what that's looking at for now. This is what we're going to go to, and this is what we're going to see for tomorrow. This is our temperatures for tomorrow, and we can see again those teens for the Twin Cities, teens for Illinois, teens pretty much in maybe 20 across most of the upper Midwest and down. Let's look at some other areas. We have South Florida is where you want to be as far as the temperatures. We see that 70 down by Miami, and we got those upper 60s, maybe some 50s across the panhandle of Florida. And then that cold air is really deep down as 20s extend all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, Mobile, Alabama, New Orleans, all across the South, seeing temperatures in the 20s, in Louisiana, New Orleans. Come on, let's keep it real now. Mardi Gras, I think it's next month. We don't want to see temperatures in the 20s when Mardi Gras comes. Let's keep it real. That's not fair. That's not even right. I mean, over the Gulf, it's in the 50s. In the Gulf of Mexico? Get out of here. Man, that polar air, that polar vortex, man, is kicking our butts right now. So, and then, but if you look at the Southwest, look at that beautiful. Well, that's even cold too. 55 in Phoenix. We have that 55 in Tucson as well. It's cold. No, 45 in Tucson. See, Tucson is always about 10 degrees cooler than Phoenix. Whatever it is in Phoenix, just say it's going to be 10 degrees cooler in Tucson. It's always like that. I don't care what the situation is. It's just forever that way. So if you want to be in Arizona, but you can't handle the heat, the southeastern part of the state is a little cooler, but you could also live in Flagstaff. It's cooler. The higher elevation, Sholo, Pine Top, is a lot cooler. You know, in the mountains above the Mogollon Rim, in Navajo territory of northern Arizona and New Mexico. Beautiful, beautiful people. I have a dear friend of mine that's a Navajo lady. Beautiful people. And then in Southern California, 50s and 60s. I'm from LA. I remember it getting. I've even seen snowflakes in LA before, so that's not unusual. I mean, it is unusual. I mean, it didn't like snow, but I remember a time when I was a kid seeing it rain, and it was lightly raining, and it was actually in the 40s. So, but I could look on my hand and I saw snowflakes. There were a few snowflakes in the rain that was falling. So I remember that as a kid. This is why I'm going into. That's why I'm being a meteorologist, because it started when I was a kid. That's what made me want to be a weather forecaster. It was a kid thing. It's always a kid thing. You talk to anybody that's a meteorologist or atmospheric sciences, you ask them what made you want to do it. They're almost all. I get 95% chance they're gonna say it's something that they saw or experienced as a child. It usually starts from childhood. So anyway, so that is what the temperatures are gonna look like tomorrow. So we see again. We're gonna see those temperatures for fall on Sunday, because another Alberta Clipper is going to pass through, and those temperatures are going to nosedive and back into the teens again, as we see temperatures near 20 today. But anyway, that's a look at the temperatures across the nation. Let's jump into our next map. This is a future cast for snow. This is what the NAM, the North American model, is forecasting for snow that we're going to see through the 25th. From now through the 25th. So by the end of the 25th, this is the snow that we're going to see. You can see here in the upper Midwest in Minnesota, we're going to have up to 4 inches of snow in the Minneapolis area by the 25th, which is on Tuesday. So by Tuesday, we're going to see up to 4 inches. And then here's that swath, that Alberta Clipper, that's going to drop 2 to 4 inches. You see the path that it took. So really, this tells me that this Alberta Clipper is going to be, see how it shows that? Let's look at it. 2 inches, 3 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches here. Maybe there's a 5-inch there. So maybe they might get another round of snow in this area in Iowa, but I think so. But this one here, as you can see, this is that track of that Alberta Clipper. So we can tell that there's some places going to get an inch, you know, here in Ohio. This is point south here in southern Ohio. Central Indiana, 2 to 3 inches, predominantly from that system that's passing, that will pass through there later today. So obviously that's the only snow they're going to see through Tuesday. So a lot of this is going to see 4 inches here in Duluth. You see Wisconsin, Green Bay, 4 inches. Going to pick up 4 inches. Here is North Dakota. Aberdeen is going to pick up 3 inches. And so we got Bismarck, 4 inches, going to pick up between now and Tuesday. So that is what the snowfall totals look like. And then as well some snow in Colorado, 2 to 3 inches around the Denver area and areas in the Denver area. So let's look at what the upper Midwest has. This is what the GFS is showing for the upper Midwest. And we can see those progressions of the Alberta Clipper. You see them flying by. There's one. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's start this over. Let's start it over. Let's go back. Let's bring it back. Bring it back. Let's start. All right, let's start over. 1. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Woo, there's a big storm, and there's a bigger storm. 6, 7, 8. Oh, no, it just starts over there. All right. So we can see, count them, 5 Alberta Clippers. 5 Alberta Clippers. They just keep coming and coming and coming. And they don't really produce much, but a little snow. They make the road greasy. Maybe have you shovel a little bit. You might have to shovel off your pottery, 1 to 2 inches of snow. It's really easy snow to shovel. It's not that heavy, wet snow. So let's progress forward here in the GFS for the upper Midwest. All right, so here is the current Alberta Clipper. Here is the next Alberta Clipper that is going to come through on your 24th. Here's Monday's Alberta Clipper that's going to affect the upper Midwest. And then we have, let's go to the next one. There's the next one that's going to come through. Bring some snow to the upper Midwest, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, parts of Iowa. And this is going to be on the 27th. This is Thursday. All right. Let's go to the next one. All right. So now here's Alberta Clipper that's going to affect Michigan and northeastern Wisconsin. And this is going to be again for the this is going to be again on the January 30th. This is going to be next Sunday. All right. There's another Clipper coming through. This is also going to be next Wednesday for February 2nd. February 2nd is going to be, all right, there's a bigger storm. This is a bigger storm here that's going to come up on the and we can see rain. See, rain comes all the way up to the upper Midwest. Rain, Chicago. Rain comes up through to Des Moines. See, this actually brings. Let's get it to hold there. It brings rain to Des Moines. This is freezing rain right here. As you can see, some of that mixed precipitation. It brings snow into Minnesota. This is freezing rain. See, we're going to see some freezing rain all the way up as far as the Twin Cities, south of the southern end of the Twin Cities. This is I-94 here. Southern Twin Cities, the parts of southern Wisconsin. You're going to see heavy rain in Iowa, Missouri, rain in northern Indiana, northern Ohio, some snow to a little bit of mixed precipitation, and rain across Michigan. So that is a little bit potent storm there, and it's going to ride all the way up. This is that Colorado low. This is a Colorado low that's coming up. This is going to come up out of the Colorado, out of the Rockies, and it's going to move on across. So that's a look at what the precipitation looks like in the future according to the GFS for the upper Midwest. Now let's take a look at the temperatures for the upper Midwest for the next few days. And then we can see that polar jet stream really comes down or dives down across the upper Midwest. We can see that blast of cold air, and we can see those negative overnight temperatures, -13 in the Twin Cities, -15 in St. Cloud. We see those those negative temperatures. This is going to probably be a wind chill warning. It's going to have wind chill values below -35 in these areas here of the of Wisconsin and Minnesota. Parts of Iowa, the Dakotas are going to be as low as 20 below. This is the actual temperature. This is not wind chill. The wind chill is going to be a lot worse, actually. So this is what we're going to be dealing with. And here is Wednesday's overnight lows. You see that -22. You see those in this right here is Madison, Wisconsin, -17. This is that -22 in this is Eau Claire, Wisconsin. As we can see, no, this is Rhinelander. Rhinelander? What is it called? Rhinelander? Eau Claire is actually, this is actually Eau Claire here, where it's going to be 25 below. Green Bay, going to hit that 23 below. I don't see Milwaukee on this one, but it's also going to be about 20, 21 degrees below zero. So you see that really cold air, those bouts, and then it warms up a little bit ahead of these. This is what it's going to do in between the Alberta Clippers. You're going to get a hit with a really big bout of cold air. Then the next day it's going to get a little bit milder ahead of the next Alberta Clipper, because these are going to come about every day and a half. You'll see the Alberta Clipper. Boom, 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 boom. There's that code again. Move right on through. We know the routine. We know the drill. And then again another day. And here we are with Tuesday the 27th as we look at overnight lows, -11. So that is the temperature. That is a look at the. Now here is the current satellite map we have right now. You see that that weather system that extends all the way from the North Atlantic all the way into Mexico, and that raised havoc with the East Coast. But for about a week, there it is offshore, moving on out to sea. It's going to be out of our hair. No more have to worry about it. If you look at the National Weather Service, you don't see any more of those watches and warnings all along the East Coast for freezing rain and winter weather advisories, winter storm watches. You don't see that anymore because you guys are going to get a break here coming up for the next week until the next weekend. Until next weekend. So enjoy your break and your time off. Go out, get your bread and milk, because next weekend you're going to need it. I think you're going to need that bread and milk, okay? I'm sorry to say, but, you know, the models have been kind of consistent with that big storm and how deep it is. I'm not seeing much deviation from it. They've been kind of like a dog with the bone. You saw the GFS shows it, the Euro shows it. So I guess, you know, we can make that one a safe bet. Confidence level in that one, out of a 5, I'm going to give it at a 3 right now. My confidence in that storm coming next weekend is at a 3. All right? So that's where we are. So let's take a look at some of our climatic stuff here. I got some graphics to show you. This is the Atlantic Oscillation. This is, you see that the AO has been predominantly neutral over the last several months. But you see these anomalies here showing that this big dive here, the negative phase. So which would be that same weekend, February. See this, how all these different parameters here show that huge drop off at the end. This would be coincide with that big storm on the East Coast. It's when that AL goes negative like that, that usually means an East Coast storm. And that what the models is show. This is why I have that 3. I could possibly even say 4, but I'm going to keep it conservative. I'm going to say a 3 out of 5 right now is my confidence in that East Coast storm next weekend. The 28th, 29th, and the 30th, then the 31st. We'll probably be dealing with that storm through into the 31st. So that's where my confidence is with that right now. So as you can see that AO going negative, you see what the NAO, this is the North Atlantic. This deals a lot with the blocking around Greenland and the northern Atlantic Ocean, and you see it too. But this is why I'm only at a 3, because this wants to show that the NAO is going to be slightly positive. We want to see the AO go negative and the NAO go negative, but this still wants to say positive. So it's that North Atlantic, meaning that it won't really have that blocking, right, really as strong as we need, but that's going to allow the storm to move on out to sea and not hold it or deflect it back into Canada, or keep it being where it's centered really close to the U.S. mainland, and where it's not over Nova Scotia and northeastern Canada, where it's going to be more out to sea. So that NAO it wants to say positive, slightly positive. I want to say that it's going to stay positive or go neutral. So a neutral, probably neutral NAO and a deeply negative AO, which is kind of we can still have a big storm. So this is why it's at a 3. So let's take a look at the PNA right now. The PNA is the Pacific North American oscillation, and the PNA is showing negative. It wants to show negative by the end of February, and it's been predominantly negative. The PNA has been predominantly negative. It's through the month of January and December, which is why that you remember we had the December to remember across the upper Midwest, and they had that big storm, those tornadoes in Kentucky. That was during a time when the PNA was negative, really negative. And it makes those, that means when the PNA is negative, that means there's a trough on the East Coast, on the West Coast, and the ridge on the East Coast. And those storms, that southeastern ridge was in place, and it was making those storms come from the southwest or from the west going across, and they were picking up that Gulf of Mexico moisture and that southern moisture. And it's why we had tornadoes in December in Minnesota. For the first time, tornadoes were recorded in Iowa and Minnesota in December. Okay? I mean, there was hail in South Dakota and Minnesota in December, mid-December. That was because of a negative PNA. When the PNA, you see, this is here for January. You saw how the storms have been hitting the southeast, heading up the eastern seaboard. That's when the PNA ridge, see that positive PNA? The positive PNA is the ridge in the west, the ridge, that high ridge going into Canada, making those storms. See, that ridge has been pushing the storms into northern Canada, and they've been coming around that ridge, dropping down out of Canada as these Alberta Clippers. And these Alberta Clippers, see, if you look back in the earlier parts of January, late December, like that storm we had last weekend on the East Coast, that storm started off as an Alberta Clipper, dove down. It actually was a really strong Clipper, dropped up to 10 inches of snow in parts of Minnesota and North Dakota. And it dug down into the deep south, picked up some more Gulf moisture, and it became that super strong storm. It spawned tornadoes across Mississippi, Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, South Georgia. It created a lot of ice, freezing rain in the Carolinas again, and Kentucky, Tennessee. Saw a lot of that freezing rain. Heavy snow in the mountains of Appalachia. Heavy snow up the East Coast. We saw heavy snow in the Pennsylvania, West Virginia. We saw it in Virginia. We saw the heavy snow in the D.C. area. We saw heavy snow in New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Nova Scotia. Saw that snow. That storm just created a mess, and that is something you see when the P&A goes positive. So that's beautiful. This is what we call telekinetics. Telekinetics is when it's that link. Is that when the atmospheric condition or the atmospheric engine that's driving those weather systems and our weather patterns is when they actually connect with the actual pattern that we visibly can observe and record. That's called telekinetics. So it's when that make that connect. So that is the weather in the nutshell right here. That is what's going on. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to subscribe to the channel, if you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. You'll get notifications when I post a new video. I'm going to try to post a new video every day. There won't be a video tomorrow because I need a day off and I want to spend the day with my wife. And so there won't be a video tomorrow. You can also follow me on TikTok. My TikTok information, my other social media, my weather page on Facebook, where there's written weather forecasts, where this is going to be written, and I do provide local forecasts for upper Midwestern states, for Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, North and South Dakota, and Iowa. I do provide written forecasts for those states. You can see those in my description. In the description of this video, we'll have that information. Please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Do you think I'm doing a good job? Do you like my forecast? What do you think I could do differently? What would you like me to do? I also want to cover special weather topics, maybe included in my analysis. I want to cover like the Tonga, things like that nature, volcanic eruptions, anything going on in earth science that makes the news or whatever like that. I want to cover all of that stuff. Would you like me to do that? Would you want to see that? Please leave a comment in the comment section. Remember, hit the like button and share the channel with your friends. Thank you. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys all Monday when I make my next video. Remember to follow me on TikTok. I do post every morning in TikTok your morning forecast for the upper Midwest. Thank you and have a good day.